rumors.
Before I get started, just let me say, I'm fine. Yeah. Fine.
Bits of gossip. I sort of felt like you planned to presumably take that position. You realize they approached me to do this. I said I'd go after it, Yetta. It's something troublesome in the clamoring roads of Hollywood. The murmur of embarrassment can change into a thunder inside the space of hours in this universe of style, glitz, and moment, sharing the Harveys have as of late been under a seriously amplifying spotlight today. We're diving further into the hurricane encompassing Steve and Marjorie Harvey's association. That is what you're expressing to me, Alex Sorioka, an unexpected bringing in. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Secret Life Channel. So what do we have on the plan? For now, the murmurs started harmlessly, an adequate number of little murmurings online about Marjorie's supposed treachery blossomed into an out-and-out web cyclone, kindly greeting to chick of my fantasies, my significant other Marjorie. Over the course of the last week, there's been unremitting gab about Marjorie recommending she was associated with an extramarital undertaking, as well as examining separation. Such murmurs might have stayed recently, that notwithstanding their fast amplification into moving images and stories, sprinkled across various computerized tabloids, a few even referred to supposed insiders who talked about strain-filled evening gatherings and public occasions, where the Harveys appeared to be far off. A Harvey's carefully prepared in the craft of advertising new quietness wouldn't be brilliant at Contribute Fest 2023. Steve Harvey tended to an ocean of participants and millions additional through cameras. Assuming responsibility for the story, before I begin, just let me say I'm fine. Marjorie's fine ruler show kindness, a basic yet significant assertion, encouraging fans and cynics the same to concentrate somewhere else. Marjorie, ever the puzzling figure, picked a more baffling course. She shared an article on Instagram alluding to the untruths swirling around them. Her subtitles appeared to communicate both irritation and strength, indicating their common flexibility in the midst of the tempest. Tip, to be exact, she composed my better half, and I don't typically stop to address all the silliness and falsehoods that have been spread about us anyway. To whom much is given, much is required. I comprehend that with my foundation comes some kind of obligation to those that may not be areas of strength. For however we may be perused, and share this with your friends and family that may not know how to appropriately adapt yet. In spite of their unified front, inquiries persevered. Was Marjorie's adoration certified, or was she basically a stunning player in the gold-digging game? How about we investigate this dubious perspective? A highlight an alleged example in Marjorie's past connections, before Steve murmurs of her liaisons with princely figures made adjusts. An undisclosed source, once in the Harveys' internal circle, was cited in an old newspaper. Marjorie generally had a preference for the better things. It wasn't just about adoration, and keeping in mind that previous connections ought to remain in the past, many couldn't resist the opportunity to draw matches. Then there's the certain transient ascent of Steve Harvey. Once a comic, he's presently a diverse magnate. With more abundance comes more hypothesis. Might Marjorie at any point possess been awaiting her energy for the most rewarding second, being a mind-blowing remainder? With is the absolute most significant choice you will at any point make in light of the fact that your other half will either unwinding Marjorie's alleged thought processes. Further, the planning of these bits of gossip and claims appeared to be quite helpful for certain fans. How could bits of gossip about a separation surface now after such countless long stretches of marriage? Steve's image, albeit prospering as of late, confronted a few marks, particularly with contentions like the tweet from his record, which tossed conceal at individual jokesters. This might actually be an ideal, leave a valuable open door for Marjorie. Her obscure reactions, like her Instagram presents, added on the interest by not straightforwardly tending to the bits of gossip she passed on space for theory, conceivably a strategy to keep up with her public picture. Anyway, we mustn't fail to remember that Marjorie, over the course of the years, has secured herself as something other than Steve Harvey's better half. She has her image, her character, Could this be her second to recover her story and get out of Steve's approaching shadow? How about we first say that you shouldn't feel regretful for it? Before we keep examining Marjorie's thought processes, we should investigate Steve's business domain. Where Marjorie has become something other than a strong spouse, she has slowly changed into a colleague, and Marjorie's change, both as far as height and monetary status, has been out-and-out stupendous. Marjorie today remains as the glad proprietor of the Woman Loves Couture, an extravagance design website and way of life brand, which has built up some decent forward momentum and income throughout the long term. It's difficult to neglect how Steve's superstar cloud has advanced and raised Marjorie's image to its ebb and flow unmistakable quality. The charm of the RV name, joined with continuous notices on Steve's shows, has had no little influence in the brand's prosperity. Anyway, Marjorie's climb to opulence isn't exclusively private. A more intensive look uncovers the get-going of her kids inside media outlets. And many guess that Steve's impact and associations assumed an instrumental part. Marjorie Harvey, Marjorie's girl, has transformed from an obscure figure to a model and powerhouse, hobnobbing with the superstars and parading associations with significant design brands as perhaps of the most lovely and pursued model on the planet. She orders consideration any place she goes. I think just continuously putting me first. And you realize I have such countless organizations that Jason and Morgan, her different youngsters, haven't been left in the shadows either. Jason sent off his own extravagant shoes line. You have Crude Shoes, which a few insiders contend owes its high-profile send-off and resulting accomplishment to the Harvey name. Morgan then again, after certain pokes in the diversion world, cut out a specialty as a food blogger with a quickly developing following. Gracious, yet still as a mother. You, as yet rewinding the clock, Marjorie's previous connections painted a glaring difference to her flow marvelousness, filled life reports from sources like TMZ. And the day-to-day monster shed light on her past binds with people who had brushes with the law. Without Steve, numerous insiders except her youngsters would have confronted a daunting task for acknowledgement and achievement. Moving the spotlight to presence and excess, the rundown is unending, from sumptuous excursions to haute couture. Marjorie's Instagram channel is a demonstration of the rich life Steve has managed. The cost of her one of the most discussed presents was a $500,000 Rolls-Royce that Steve gifted her for her 50th birthday celebration, standing out as truly newsworthy in distributions like Individuals magazine news. He's only one. We don't change for every last bit of it. We just change for one. Stripping back the drapery on Steve's realm uncovers a juggernaut of abundance with numerous top-rated books, facilitating gigs on shows like Family Quarrel, The Steve Harvey Morning Show, and the Miss Universe exhibition. His total assets, assessed at around $200 million by Forbes, is considerable. The couple's common resources incorporate rambling homes across the U.S., remembering a luxurious chateau for Atlanta and properties in Texas. Marjorie's contribution in Steve's organizations is unquestionable, as a few legitimate examiners hypothesize. In case of a separation, she could leave with an extensive lump of this fortune. You're truly here, so I can respect you. Was Marjorie's impact for Steve veritable, or was it a coordinated play for opulence? The proof might steer the results towards the last option. And as her kids currently stand on strong ground, and with Steve's domain at its peak, some contend it may very well be the perfect second for Marjorie to pen her next section far away from the Harvey spotlight. Having further into the complicated account of the Harveys, there's an evident connotation of brand protection. In the midst of their continuous adventure, Steve Harvey, past his funny veneer, has wore the mantle of a relationship master throughout the long term. His smash hit books, for example, Carry On Like a Woman, have a similar outlook. As a man, alongside his syndicated programs, have frequently advanced his own marriage as a benchmark of relationship achievement. Basically, the Harvey brand is entwined with the picture of an unshakable, praiseworthy conjugal association. So when murmurs of conjugal friction surface, they risk breaking an individual exterior, as well as a business. Marjorie's energetic refusals in this light should be visible through a practical focal point insiders, like those cited in an unstable Vanity Fair piece. Propose Marjorie's great desire is to fabricate her different domain. Liberated from the shadow of the Harvey name, a key to this is guaranteeing that the Harvey brand stays clean as its clout gives a huge tailline to her endeavors. It's been estimated by a lot of people in the business. For example, media expert Richard Klein, in his Business Insider, highlight that even a smidgen of truth to the bits of gossip couldn't endanger Steve's standing as a relationship master, yet in addition possibly hinder Marjorie's direction in laying out her independent image. With such a huge amount in question, disproving tales becomes a question of individual pride as well as of vital business.